If somebody wants to go deeper, we could, connect later.
Yeah, definitely. I will have some questions for you for sure. And well, I'll share
How
my
does,
question. Yeah, I'll share my question with you in a little bit, but and we can go deeper offline. I
and I'll put my contact information in the chat.
okay.
What's up with that shirt, Frank?
What's that?
What's up with that shirt?
What do you think? Just in case I get to go to BPCon, I'll be in the front row.
Nice. That's a good one.
Where's that at again, Frank?
It's in Vegas, October 5th through
Okay.
7th, I believe.
Okay. You'd think that by now they've talked about it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, they try to mention it whenever they can. He does have a discount code. Let me see if I can find that. It's $100 off if anybody is going to go. Let's see.
Yeah, I probably won't since we already got tickets for the ORAT.
Oh, are you going to go, Josh? That's awesome.
Yeah, my wife is coming this time too, so
Oh, great.
told her she better come along with me this time. So good.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
two VIP tickets to go and harass everyone.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Did you and Cynthia get your tickets yet?
We have tickets. Yeah,
Cool.
we're hoping we'll be able to go. I think, well, last year, you guys know she had to have surgery during that time and it was unexpected. So we missed out. But with Zuber talking about maybe not doing one for a while, I think we're
Right.
going to do our best to go.
Cool. Yeah, I have to have surgery in a couple weeks, but I'm anticipating I'll be up and running by then, so I should be good. But
Good deal. So this is the discount code.
cool.
Yeah, I think there might be some people that may not be really attending BPCon, but they're going to be there to support them, and they probably will be getting together. I think he said somewhere in Caesars, so they'll do a kind of an offline get together.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't know how much the tickets are. I didn't really get that far into it because, like you, were saving up our money for February.
Right. Yeah.
I got to get to. I know there's a young woman who has been posting videos talking about, and I know Mikey does it and Cody, points hacking. I'm going to see because we've been saving points up since before the last event, so I have a few points. I don't know if they would come in for any discounts or anything on because we are going to drive. So
Oh, are you? Well, yeah,
like
you guys are close enough. Makes sense.
yeah, car rentals, hotels, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we pay our card off every month, but we'll a lot of times put stuff on there if it's a big purchase, especially just for us flying to dog shows and that. We do Alaska, and then we also got I think it's a Capital One card or something that we get kickbacks on too. So we're used to use that. And we're not as deep into it as Cody. Cody, I know, is the credit card hack master. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff, guys. I really enjoy it. I'm not even too crazy into it, but we just try to just consistently get a new card, and it's been helping us for travel stuff. So
Right.
makes
That's
a big
awesome.
difference, that's for sure.
Yeah. Are you guys coming this year?
I don't think I'll be able to. We have a couple family vacations coming up in like February and in
Yeah.
April, so it's hard to make another another trip.
Right.
So I'd like to, but with that, it's just hard to make a third one work.
It is. Well, we'll miss seeing you there.
Yeah, if something changes or whatever, I'll maybe come late or something.
There you go. About anybody else in here got tickets yet or planning on going?
I got mine.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got mine with Carrie. And
Vicky and
we're
I have
probably-
ours.
Yeah, we're probably gonna stay at the Downtown Grand.
Oh yeah. That was gonna be my next thing. Where's everybody gonna kind of stay at the downtown strip there?
Last year we were planning on it. I think we had reservations at the Nugget. I think Mikey and Mark were at the Downtown Grand. I don't remember where Cody was going to be at.
I ended up staying at the Nugget too. Jason and I did, and then yeah, the downtown Grand wasn't too far of far for walking distance, but I think a lot of the people are planning on doing that this year because it seemed like a lot of people were meeting up there, so might be a good spot for everybody. And it's a little bit off downtown, so then it's not as loud there, which is good too.
It seems like kind of a newer, nicer place too. Where I haven't been into the Nugget in years, but I remember the last time I was there quite a while ago. It was just smokier and kind of, I don't know. I didn't see the rooms, so maybe the rooms were okay. But
Yeah, when I was there and when we were there this past year, it actually was pretty nice.
okay,
Yeah, so I don't know if they did. I think they renovated part of it, but I think overall it's pretty nice at this point.
say it's been probably 15, 20 years ago that I was there, so I'm not giving it a fair shake. Vegas turns over pretty fast.
Yeah, I would say it's still pretty nice. I think it was just like a little louder than you'd get a little bit off the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of advertisements, and Zuber was saying too that tourism's down like 30% or something right now. So maybe if you lock in some prices now, you might get a better deal.
Yeah, that's the whole plan.
Yeah, it's a good plan. Well, you guys flying in early for a Denny's meetup or anything like that, or?
I'll be in early.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm flying in or if I'm gonna drive.
Where are you driving in from?
Oh, it's like the Midwest, but that's because I have something else to do there.
Okay. Makes sense for you to drive out potentially.
I got a buddy that's got a broke airplane in Southern California. So we'll see what that looks like by the time that comes around. So if he needs a mechanic to travel, then
Right.
I'll double header it.
There you go.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of us last year we're going in on Wednesday and leaving Tuesday because I guess Monday is still President's Day, right? And Valentine's Day is on Saturday. So let's see. We were talking to Mark. Mark Simon is a lender with Nexa Mortgage. If you guys have any lending questions, feel free to ask him. I was going to mention, Mark, that I've been having trouble and I've been learning a lot because a lot of the properties that we have purchased, well, they're in St. Louis, right? The price points are low. They're like 70,000 to 106 was the most expensive one. And I was just wondering about trying to be in position So we have 4 properties and they're in the 6.8 to 7.5 interest rate range. And I was just thinking if rates ever did drop enough to make it make sense to just do rate and term refis on those to help with the cash flow, increase the cash flow a little bit. But I've just been hearing, the price points are too low, the loans are too small.
Yeah, so the thing in the industry, it's like you could talk to 20 people and they all would have said the same thing as that. But that's why I've worked in other settings where I worked for just one lender, but I like this broker concept because there are people who wouldn't have said that necessarily. So to be specific, there are lenders that would work with loans of that size, even less than 70,000. Or that's the property value, right? That's
Yeah.
the value. Yeah. So, what that turns into after the percentage they're going to allow, so that loan size is not an issue. It's just knowing the short list that's out there of lenders that will do those. And then in terms of the rate, yeah, obviously there's a certain amount of reduction you need to make it worthwhile. I mean, obviously being extreme, it's like a half a point isn't going to do much of any significance. But now it just so happens today I was on a Zoom call with the head of really one of the largest lenders. And, his opinion was, they've been trying to get Powell to reduce the Fed rate, and the feel is with the pressure is that not for sure, but the next announcement is something like the 15th or the 17th of September. They're feeling like more confident that it might happen this time. So, the right kind of bump in lowering the rates. Yeah, if all of a sudden that 7.5 goes to, I don't know, I mean, in today's market, yeah, it potentially could go below 7 as it is right now, but let's say it went even further and it's 6.25, whatever, somewhere in that range where, yeah, clearly it's worthwhile. So it's something to keep our eye on is if we get that rate reduction, it might be sooner than later.
Yeah, I would, and again, I can connect with you again outside of the meeting, but Wayne had asked about maybe a portfolio type scenario. If you bundle all 4 properties together, is that a thing out there?
Oh yeah, yeah. Again, it's one of those that's on the short list. I mean, you could be making calls to hundreds of lenders and they're all going to say no, or try to talk you into breaking it up into individual loans. But it just so happens I had worked with a couple people recently where they bundled like 4 properties at the same time. And so, there was a lender that is comfortable doing that. And it's a little different approach, but yeah, there are lenders that would accommodate that, whereas the majority want to divide those up.
Okay, yeah, and I think just like you were saying, I would think that if it worked out to where we could get like 1 point lower than where we're at now, or even better, I don't know how common it is to, if just say the rates dropped and you can get 1% better on your interest rate, can you go further and buy it down a little bit more, or, and I know there's discussions there.
There's that, what they would say in the industry, the par rate, where it's just essentially no cost, or it's like, $50 or something ridiculous. But then there's the point factor where you could buy down the rate, and depending on the scenario that makes sense for you, some people, there would be reasons that it wouldn't make sense. Like maybe somebody who's thinking, well, I might be selling this property in the next year and a half or something. So, why? Somebody else, it's like, yeah, I'm holding on to this for the next 15 years, whatever. yeah, there's a point where the points become less and less significant in the long term. But that is an option. And yeah, I mean, right now, like I'd say as a generality, like if something's at 7.5, yeah, there's room for that to come down already. So, if there's a rate change in another month from now, it might be one of the ones that would cross that border to where it could make sense.
Okay, yeah, that's great. All like I said, and some folks in the group talk about um, getting in position while you can, because when you do need it, it's not going to be available. So, or something always, some kind of hiccup always happens when I'm trying to do stuff like this. So I'll get you all our information again and see where we need to be to qualify for something like that.
Yeah, that was I was trying to keep my little note in the chat there brief, but that was one note that I just put in there is just, in the industry, there's thousands of lenders and there's a percentage of them, they all kind of do the same type of loan. And then you kind of work your way down the list and there's certain people that have made a niche of these things that literally 99% of the industry will turn down, like they've got other criteria and the underwriter would approve that loan. And they're not names that you're going to run across every day. Like, it literally could be a bank in the middle of the country that's got one branch and they're not looking to be a monster mortgage operation and they're happy to get a modest number of loans each month. And so they've tapped a market that everybody else, doesn't want to get involved with.
Well, that gives me a little bit of hope. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's, like up and coming, there's more of that. I think maybe on a previous call we touched on is the whole crypto area is evolving and, it seems like there could be before we get much deeper into this current administration federally that it seems like there could be some policy changes that's going to accelerate that even more so.
All right, cool. JC, do you have a question?
Yes, I don't want to break it up the conversation. So for the whole group and everybody on the call, for what you were saying, does anyone has like a spreadsheets that they're using of maybe 2 or 3 scenarios of what the rates and closing and points buyout will have to be, so they can track it maybe once a month, once a quarter, where we like to have it in their pocket before they have to start searching, as you were saying before, be ready for it. So this is where I have to be to make sense to refine.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of waiting for that point and start asking lenders, because then it's a time game, I guess. Better be prepared and ready than.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Are you asking if there is anyone that has that type of a spreadsheet? Yeah.
No, so I'm saying, or any tool that people use in a group. You know what I mean? They don't. Okay. It's not for sharing, but if they have something on this, what I mean. However, they keep a track on something. Like I think a few weeks ago we talked about insurance, right? Yeah. Don't wait for your insurance guy to requote you to save you money. You have to do the shopping and price comparison instead of waiting on them. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's probably some homework for me this week. It would be to try to find something like that.
And one thing is it's a good thought is like planning ahead rather than, okay, it sounds like rates are better now and kind of getting organized then and losing a week or two. But one of the things is when you start to hear this stuff out there on the news or financial interviews and all that, or the ads and they're saying rates are such and such, it's like you kind of got to take that with a grain of salt because whatever rate is being thrown around out there, like one person may get that because their scores are good, the other wouldn't because their score's not as good, or particularly on advertisements, like they can be misleading. It's like, yeah, sort of such and such a rate does exist, but the ad doesn't fully qualify it, or they get the fast talking person or the fine print that you can't read that, oh, that represented 2.5 points to get that rate, So it takes a personalized discussion to really be accurate. And there's a way of doing that. Like I'll talk to people. I don't have them jump into filling out an app. Like we can cover some critical questions and make sense of what you're likely to get out of it. But yeah, between the advertisements or some of the financial interviews, it can give you misleading direction that isn't personal to your situation and what you might be eligible for. Just like the product that's the DSCR product. It's like, somebody doesn't have the greatest income and they could actually still buy this property because of the way the DSCR structure is totally different than a conventional investment purchase.
Yeah, I have found myself recently, like you said, you hear, if we're listening and the guys from Convoy or Stephen Dow are talking about this great new thing that they're unrolling, I always just wait and listen until the part that disqualifies me. So, they were talking about some kind of portfolio thing, like I just asked about, but then the minimum loan amount is 200K. Usually I'm okay for credit score and things like that, but then there's some kind of little twist, like you said, that knocks me out of the running.
Yeah, there's a variety of things that can be on that list, and um, minimum loan size that we talked about, and yeah, score. Um, but there's a little bit of everything out there once you start identifying some of these niche lenders, like on a personal level, maybe not as much on the investor level. Like we've got lenders that somebody trying to get their primary home, they'll do an FHA or VA loan, and this person's got a 500 score. If the rest of the package adds up right, or you get these college graduates from some elite college, and day one they're making six figures, but they never really establish credit. So there's another lender that'll do a loan based on their total story, even though they might not even have one FICO score.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of quirky things out there. But for investors, I'm particularly enthusiastic about the DSCR because somebody could make 30,000 a month or 30,000 a year, and it wouldn't be a factor in how they evaluate it. They're focused on the rents of the property and the value of the property, and it doesn't get real complex. They don't want to see tax returns. It's just really a streamlined checklist. And, they get these done pretty quickly too.
So Mark, what type of loans get bought all the time? What's everybody buying?
Well, I mean, it's really all over the place. I mean,
But if you had to build a sweet spot, what would that look like?
well, I was listening the other day about stats, like just nationally, not like what I'm personally exposed to, and they were talking about the percentage of single family homes that are bought by investors. And, it was a significant percentage. And then they broke that down further. So is that just regular people like yourselves, or is this like BlackRock and monsters coming in buying hundreds and hundreds of properties? And it really, the greater percentage of it was, modest investors. So the single family home type things was uh, a significant thing. But, there's other investors going into other arenas, like all the commercial space that since COVID that's gone empty, and, conversions going on and turning office space buildings into residential things. And, there's so many directions people go. But yeah, I think the single family home and duplexes and 1 to 4 units, I mean, that's probably the greatest percentage out of people who aren't digging into the, commercial type properties.
Any other lending questions for Mark while he's with us?
one thing that's out of the box, and I don't know if this applies to anybody there, you know, I don't know everybody's profile is, and maybe this is already common knowledge with you guys, but like it's a given that an FHA loan, a VA loan, you know, you can't tap into that as an investor, but you can if you're buying a duplex or a quad and you're moving into one of the units. So, for some people at the stage they're at in investing, that's a concept that could work. Yeah, it's been a real icebreaker for some people getting into investing.
You mean as far as assuming one of those types of loans?
Well, no, let's say somebody's at a stage where they're comfortable moving into a duplex or a triplex or something, and that's going to be their primary residence. So because of that, now they got all the rent in those other units. They could get that FHA or VA loan that if it was purely an investment property, they wouldn't be able to use those loans.
Okay.
Is there any states that you don't service? Steve was asking about Florida.
Yeah, so it's a little more complicated of an answer than what it was a couple years ago, because there are types of loans that literally, like commercial loans is the best example, where it doesn't require the regular licensing that residential licensing is required. And then the DSCR type loan is similar to a degree where, yes, I have mortgage licensing in a limited number of states, but there are dozens of states where I don't have to have that particular state license to do the DSCR loan. So that's me directly, but because the brokerage I'm with, for the guys that aren't familiar with it, Nexa is the largest mortgage broker in the country and even substantially larger than the second largest broker. So Nexa is doing lending in 48 of the 50 states. The only two that we're not doing right now is New York and Massachusetts. But then we've got a couple other things in that list, like Puerto Rico that we do. So because of that, I have a working relationship with other licensed people in those other states where, yeah, we could get them involved and do those loans. So that's a more lengthy answer to Florida specifically, where depending on the type of loan, I would handle it directly, or, you know, I helped out somebody there not too long ago where jointly worked on it with somebody, and that person's license took care of the need there.
So in general, are we looking like average market values or a certain percentage below that? Like how do we calibrate what we may want to try to get financing on and or seek other financing options?
Sounds like that's a question more for Frank than me, but
well, I also invest in Illinois, and some of these markets, we've got a lot of cheap properties. So
yeah. So I mean, from my side of it, it's like, I mean, loans under 100,000 are doable. But in terms of what makes sense, obviously for you as an investor, that sounds like more of a discussion for you guys, like some advice here that what ratio is going to make sense on that.
part of this is as we're shopping, we've got areas that, I mean, obviously we're looking for what type of property and what type of rents are gonna yield. But if we know that if we're coming in and let's just say that $100,000 range, and we've got 25,000 to be able to put down, well, then we're at a $75,000 loan value. So do we need to target a little bit higher as we're trying to find our properties? It's trying to streamline the research as we're working with the due diligence.
Yeah, one of the reasons that we had been reaching out to Mark in the first place was because our loans were in the $50,000 range, and he was one of the people that was able to go down that low. So if you're buying something for 70, by the time you put 20% down, you're right in that range. I don't, and Mark might have someone that will go lower. I've heard a couple other people that go down to as low as 35 on their loan limit, but we haven't gotten down that far yet.
Yeah, so that's doable. I mean, that loan size is doable. And then just a thought in my DSCR commentary earlier, it's like one of the things about that is it makes properties that under a conventional structure where they're doing a deep dive on your whole financial story, it enables you to buy a higher priced property, whereas when they're looking at your whole debt to income ratio and your income and your taxes, like in certain scenarios, they're going to say no. But if the rents on that property make sense, you're thinking, yeah, maybe I'm eligible to buy this $75,000 property or whatever. But in actuality, if you've got reasonable amount of reserves and are comfortable with it, I mean, you could buy a $200,000 property because they're not looking at the rest of your financial story. It's all about that one property. As long as, your credit score is okay and there's no issues otherwise, but it's not the usual checklist.
On something like that, then the down payment, obviously you need the down payment and some sort of reserves to satisfy the lender as well.
Yeah, I mean, every lender's not the same, but a common number would be like a ratio of 75% on the loan to value. So 25% down. Now there's some that might do, 80. And then if somebody wanted to go a little further on the down payment, as you put a little more down, you could end up with a lower rate. So somebody could go for only 20% down or 25, but went to 30, there's a good possibility you might see a rate drop that's of significance. But there's a real mixture of things with lenders, even in that type of product. Like, for example, the better ratio between how much rent you're collecting versus what the payment's going to be each month. And they're looking at the PITI and versus the rents. And so the better the rents, the could be better terms. But on the other hand, if it's a property that makes sense to you to have, and maybe your rent is a little less than what that payment's going to be, there are certain lenders that would be accepting less than a 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay. Another one of the variables. One of the things too that, like I was saying, these little challenges pop up whenever I've been trying to do something, a lot of different things with financing, trying to make our situation better, was that we haven't had a full house across our portfolio. Right now, 7 of the units are full. We have 2 that we're going through turnovers right now, and one of our tenants is moving out on the 15th. So when I was talking about trying to get in shape, getting all the units filled will definitely be a plus, but then hopefully that won't take too long to where conditions change and some other factor is going to hold me back. That was just a thought for you all.
Yeah, and there's lenders where if it's, let's say a triplex or a quad and it's not 100% rented, it has its impact, but there's lenders that could still make it work. And
Okay, yeah, sounds like there's a lot of options. Since with you and your network, it seems like there's a lot more options.
yeah, it's yeah, like I said earlier, yeah, there's it takes sometimes what is it, the expression a needle in a haystack, where it's like, yeah, there's these lenders that'll do something that most everybody else doesn't want to do, but you're not going to hear ads of theirs on the TV or radio, and they're happy to do a fraction of what any of these bigger lenders do. I mean, they might do in a month what the bigger lenders might do in less than one day. That is volume. So, like, one last example that's a little odd one is I had somebody recently where most people would look at it as a commercial loan, as a mixed use property, and had this lender that was able, it's totally legal, and just their approach was, it was a bit more under residential terms. So it was an office space with 2 apartments, and I think where they crossed the line and were comfortable with it under those terms and not a commercial mixed use property it was like greater than, I think 51% was the residential. And so, it streamlined the process. The cost to do the loan was less than doing it as a commercial mixed use property. But that was one of these obscure lenders that, rarely would do something like that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for all that information. What's going on with everybody? You're kind of quiet tonight. I'm going to pick on
why
somebody.
Mark showed up early.
I'm glad you're all here, even though Mark showed up.
Mark has been killing it on his end.
What?
Have you seen how much that guy's been working?
Why are you guys talking about Mark Simon that way? He's still here.
Yeah. Mark's our wonderful
Yeah.
guest. The
Maybe
other
if
one's a challenge.
if I come often enough, I'll get Mark to spell his name correctly.
Hey, Mark, I heard you might be going to the Pittsburgh meetup. Is that true?
You can't believe everything you hear on the internet. But no, I am seriously giving thought to it. It's from where I am, it's a little distance, but I mean, it's within Pennsylvania. So, yeah, definitely giving consideration to that.
That should be fine.
I'm driving from Jersey.
But you're a go-getter.
How long is that? How far or how long of a drive is that?
Depends when I start driving and how fast I'm gonna go.
Well, Mark, you're the Mark with a C. You're the biggest promoter, and you're not even sure if you're going yet.
Hey, well, trying to help Jack out, man.
Yeah,
it's gotta be a good event,
No, it sounds like you got a good agenda there for what you're doing.
Yeah, it did sound like a lot of good stuff. Let's see.
Anybody got any good tenant-related issues going on?
Tenant related?
Yeah.
Do you have one you want to start with?
Well, both of my tenants or both my units I had in my duplex hadn't paid rent until one paid today. So, yeah, that's about it. Had contractor work on a clogged sink and a missing floor joist issue this morning. And what else?
Who stole that?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how did a floor joist just go missing?
Well, it really, the odd thing about it is when we actually purchased the place, there was actually a bunch of floor joists that weren't even secured. They were just floating on sitting on a beam. And so that was called out in the inspection, and we had a contractor, well, it was the seller he got his contractor to go through the property and secure all the a bunch of the missing and unsecured joists. And then also it wasn't properly supported on the beam, so they put in two metal beam supports. So it just doesn't surprise me. There was just a transition in the floor, the wood flooring that was in between a walkway, so like a hallway into another room where they actually they just did it in a very odd way. They didn't run the edge of the flooring, like seam them together. It actually like staggered it. So there was just a weak spot that had no support below it. So I had to have my contractor go in there. And nice thing about it is it's unfinished basement. So he was able to go and get underneath there easily and put in a support for it. But mind you, my tenant, not trying to be mean or cruel or judge people on their weight or anything. He's a big guy. And so when he walks, the floor definitely feels it so if there's a spot on the floor that wasn't very supported, it would definitely show itself. So that's my tenant related issues as of this point.
Yeah, that's good. That's enough for 1 week. I think I mentioned to all of you that we finally did get the gun lady out of our property in Illinois. So that one's getting rehabbed now. And we had a tenant in Gary that wasn't paying. We were going to evict, but they moved out on their own. So that was good.
How bad's that look?
But the turnovers are not cheap. Illinois is like 7,000 and Gary is looking like 5,000. And the one that we have leaving it from the triplex on the 15th, I don't think that will be a big deal, but the last tenant that moved out of one of those units, it was 2,500 to turn that one. And everything else is, like I said, rents are coming in finally and no other real issues. But like we've spoken before, one tenant in our duplex in Milwaukee pays his rent in thirds. Every week it's like $250, $350, $400 or whatever, and he always makes it, but then he pays the late fee. So I don't know if there's anybody in this group that gets all of their rents on the first.
I would prefer that, but it hasn't happened in a while.
I have this is first year that I've been all of my properties collecting on the first, and some of them even before first, which
really?
is nice. Yeah,
Nice. That must
I
feel
used to have a tenant. So my first rental, my tenant used to pay 3 months in advance, and I
Wow.
never seen him. I wish all of them were like that.
I'll take more of those.
Yeah, they don't like. The funny part. He had 3 rentals in like a high end right across Hudson River from New York City, like 3 houses. So I guess he knew how it works, so he was whatever. But yeah, most tenants on time now. I had one young couple, the same thing, in 20s and whatever they could each week. You know what I mean? They paid, but not the way I want it. But.
Yeah.
Paid is paid, I guess. Money's money.
That's true. Yeah, I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I had to adjust my accounting so that I just check everything on the 30th and see what all came in and what was missing. This
Hey,
isn't a child sport.
I mean, Frank, aren't you switching over to a new management company?
I just got 2 new property managers. Yes, we have a new property manager where the gun lady was in Illinois, and we have a new one in Gary. We switched from OPS over to Angelo Pedroza.
Oh, Angelo's actually managing it.
Yeah, he's managing it now. Yeah. All of our other ones are pretty good so far. We've been with all the rest for going on 2 years with all of those people, 3 years with one of them, but we're pretty happy. And my biggest complaint so far was just the communication. You know, if I can just get a hold of somebody and ask a question, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty easy to please, but sometimes I feel like they think we should know everything about their process and things like that. So, I don't know. I guess with one of them, I was asking too many questions, trying to learn too much, and they started ignoring my emails and stuff. So they were gone. I have learned to fire quicker than I had in the past.
Quicker self-selection. And Mark, no, I haven't hit Aaron up yet, but I will.
We ended
And
up
I-
switching 2 of our properties to Hemlane. Just
Oh, you
doing
did?
Yep. Ended up going forward with it. And so we're just sent out.
How
just
bad
sent out
was that
emails
process?
to the tenants. It's good so far. The onboarding process we've got with the gal there, she's been great. And we tweak the letter that goes out to the tenants and stuff a little bit to make it feel a little more friendly, I guess. It was just kind of stark, but not
Okay.
bad. Anyway, my wife worked on that yesterday and we got that sent out. And so now it's just a matter of them getting signed in and all set up through the portal and all that. But we'll see how it goes. We're jumping with it though.
How responsive are they're responsive? Like how quickly, if you've got a problem, how quickly they respond?
We just signed up with them. So far
Okay.
getting signed up with them and dealing with them, they've been great. So we'll see how it goes when stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, we've talked about that also, how sometimes, like you, when you're signing up with someone, it's their, great salesperson, but the one actually managing your properties is someone else. And that's where things have gone poorly for us in a couple of cases. Mikey and I were talking about this over the weekend too. And I think there are a couple of people in the group overall in ORAT that self-manage from out of state. And we were trying to come up with, I guess, our concerns, what would concern us if we tried to do that from out of state. I don't know if you guys have any input, but go ahead.
Kyle Dorn, see if he wants to jump on.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. How's everybody doing tonight?
No, we're good, Kyle. It's great to see you.
Finally, it's hard to get the schedule to ever work out where I can jump on here. So I said today, no matter what, I'm getting on, even if it's for 5 minutes.
Oh, awesome. We're glad you're here.
But so I'm managing, what do I got? About, I think eight or nine single families, 1,500 miles away. So feel free to pound me with questions if you have any.
Yeah, like I was saying, some of the stuff that Mikey and I were talking about, and I think, Kyle, I saw your comment in school about having a friend or friends that drive by your places occasionally and, let you know how things are looking. I think that's one of the issues I would have because I don't really have anyone yet
Mm-hmm.
in our markets. And you know our story, we're in 4 or 5 different markets. We have 5 different property managers. And you took the Lumberjacks course, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh. So, Matt's always after us to manage our stuff and even go and look at our stuff, right? Because we haven't even seen any of our properties in person. And just to start to find the people to do that, to go. Some of our friends in this group have actually gone and taken pictures of some of our properties while they were out, like in Indiana and stuff. But someone on a regular basis, just to go by and make sure the house is still standing for one. And then when you get to the next level, if you want to do like a 6-month visit to check out the inside, see how they're treating the inside. And then, the next level being handyman and contractors and things. I think handyman and contractors are probably, I would consider that easier than finding someone that could just drive by or do a 6-month inspection.
Hey, Frank, can you hear me? Hey guys.
Yeah, hi Sam.
Hey guys. Oh, okay. Hi, Frank. So, what about? Have you thought about an agent who can? Because here there's a service that you can hire an agent, or someone can hire an agent for like $50 an hour, and they will go and show houses. So I was thinking in that scenario, and in your case, instead of, we don't have friends everywhere, right? And so like, especially in your case, you have in several locations. So there's this service, or through this app, maybe that I had trouble times where my agent that wasn't available. She has let's say kids or family related matter, and she sent in couple times for showings. She sent 2 different other agents, and I wanted to just so I talked to them, and I got the idea that they don't work with her directly, but she can hire them through either it's a website or an app, and I didn't catch that at that time, but it was available, and it's like $50 an hour, and they can do showing, or they can probably go and check on a house in your scenario. I'm not sure if that's something they can do, but I think it's possible. If they're real estate agents, they can possibly do that as well if they are able, if they can show houses. Maybe they can go check on a property as well.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, Sam, I don't disagree.
Probably
sorry.
some agents out here, I'm sorry, but I was gonna say, if someone is an agent, maybe you can confirm that, because that's my experience at least.
Mm-hmm.
The problem you're going to have with that, honestly, is that they're not really looking at it as eyes of Frank or I. I don't have contractor background like Frank does, but when we walk a property, we know exactly what's going on, what is a potential issue versus a realtor or an agent. They're literally just walking through it as a cosmetic and see if there's anything hanging that's bluntly obvious. We really want to catch a problem before it even is a problem. So, I can explain, if you guys are interested, how I do things and my process, and basically my relationships with people to make sure I don't get burned. If you wanted to hear that, I don't know if that would help anybody, but it's interesting, Frank, because you said something about it's easier for you to connect with other contractors or navigate working with other contractors than, did you say making friends or investors or something? You said something. What did you say?
Oh yeah, I just meant it seems like it would be easier for me to find a contractor or a sub to work on the property than it would be to find someone who would just drive by for me and just check it on that lower level. Just, yeah, the house is still standing up. You're okay this month or whatever. And then the next step would be to find a person that could actually go inside. And I see your point where they might not have a qualified eye to catch issues, right? They might just say, oh yeah, there's still paint on the walls, there's still carpet on the floor, and that's it.
Yeah, your ceiling
But
fan
then-
is still spinning.
Yeah, but then, but then they can also, through something, they have their phone with them, right? So they can call you with a video or record a video for you, and you know, with their limited, I mean, with their limited knowledge, they can shoot a video and at the same time like walk through the property, which takes maybe 2 minutes video. And then they, you know, if they notice something something unusual, then they can also notify you. But I think, you know, you can, I guess one way to mitigate that is to be with them on a live video, or they can shoot a video or take pictures. I mean, they don't have to be experts in properties.
You're not getting the full service, in my humble opinion. Frank, I know you have a bunch as well out of state, and I know you're not going out there and looking at them physically on every one that you're buying, as well as I'm doing the exact same thing. Not every one am I walking personally before I get under contract with it. And my process is, you know, if it's on the MLS and the numbers aren't even close to working, I will just be writing offers all day contingent on a friend of mine who is a contractor there. I say one of the most important things is you have to have 3 best friends in your market that are either investors or contractors, but you got to really be best friends with them, because they're going to answer the phone at 2:00 in the morning. They're going to go do that quarterly inspection. They're going to walk the property doing a quarterly inspection. And if they come back to me and say, yeah, you know, everything looks good, I don't see any problems, I'm going to tell them they missed something. Because there's no doubt in my mind that there's always going to be something that needs to be improved or fixed before it's a problem. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that, you know, Frank, I don't know how you do it, but my experience and my process is if the offer gets accepted verbally, at that point, it's contingent on my buddy Alex to go out there and walk it. And what happens is listing agent or whatever realtor I'm using will do a video call with me. Honestly, I'm hitting the screen record button on my phone so I can look back at this at any given time. Unfortunately, voices don't get recorded. I haven't figured that part out. So my buddy Alex is literally just ripping the thing apart, and I'm just sitting on the other line of the phone writing down all this stuff. End of the day, I mean, I got 3 pages full of notes from front to back. If any realtor I send in there to look at the property, I might have maybe 5 or 6 items out of 50 or 60 that my buddy is getting that the realtors are never picking up at all. So I'm saving a ton of money on, I guess, getting hurt by getting through the process of home inspections that are costly over time, to find out over time. And basically I do the same exact thing for my quarterly inspections. My same buddy that I send him out to look at the properties. He does some repair work for me as well. He's also, you know, the guy that I'm going out and I'm telling him, hey, quarterly inspection, replace the furnace filter, find some shit that's screwed up. And yeah, I mean, I tried it with realtors and they're like, yep, everything's good. And I've tried that several different times, and I can send him in the next, like, literally an hour later. And you know, I got stuff that needs to be attention like right now. So that's just my experience with agents as far as doing quarterly inspections or showings.
Tell me about what they found and what did Alex find and what did the realtor miss?
Oh, on which example?
Pick one.
So on a quarterly inspection or on a new prospective property?
Quarterly would be great.
Yeah, quarterly. Gutters. look like they're hanging. Realtor, yeah, missed that. A small leak that started underneath the kitchen sink. You know, again, not a big deal, but you know, that stuff can definitely cause a bigger problem. I'm trying to think of most recent. Furnace filter sucked up into the furnace from it being clogged. The realtor was not going to be opening up the utility room, getting down on their hands and knees to access this furnace filter that was basically on the floor. It's not an easy above one that just drops straight in. You actually got to get down on your hands and knees and really pull it out on the one property. Chimney cap missing. Yep. No realtor ever missed. No realtor ever got that as well. Chimney cap was missing for 4 months.
So basically
I'm in
home
the-
inspector stuff,
What's that?
basically home inspector stuff that the realtor doesn't.
Correct.
Know. I mean, and,
Yep.
and these are great examples, but that's
Yeah.
exactly why I'm asking, Kyle.
Yeah. Yep. So literally, I'll literally pay my buddy Alex $50 to go through there and do a quarterly inspection. The realtor's going to charge me $100, and I'm not going to get a quarter of the service that it doesn't have to be. It could be a handyman, it could be a contractor, just general contractor. You'll find that most handymen will absolutely go do a quarterly inspection for you all day long, and they're going to charge you way less than what a realtor wants, and you're
You
going to
got a
get the
checklist for 'em?
service. Do I have a checklist? I do have one I can share with everybody. That is mainly used. I kind of stopped using it, but that was mainly used when I was prospecting properties and sending him in there, and basically I'll email it to him. He'll print it out. And what I found was that it works great. Like it's like 30 pages. Frank, you'd probably like to see it actually. I'll figure out how to share it with everybody. But it's too time consuming. What I found the best process for me was to do the video call with the realtor while we're walking the property, and she's just following Alex around and he's just ripping it apart. I'm writing notes down, and we can blow through a property within like 25, 35 minutes. Giving him that sheet of paper, it's an hour. It's an easy hour, and it's just tying up a lot of people's time.
Are you originally from out east?
Originally from Pennsylvania. I live in Montana now and invest in Davenport, Iowa.
Your last name is a local company.
What's that?
Your last name is a big local company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the line of work that you do.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it's spelled a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I was going to ask, you mentioned quarterly inspections. Those are interior inspections, and do you get any pushback from the tenants being in there
No.
every few months?
Nope. No, not yet as of now, but no. I just literally give them a 24-hour notice. I mean, sometimes, most of the time it's like 48, 50 hours or so. But it's never anything shorter than 24 hours, and no pushback at all
Is
in
that
my
something,
experience.
is that something you put in your lease or just,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And do you define hey, every quarter we're going to come through and these are the basic things we're looking at. And it's not necessarily a reflection on you, but I want to make sure that the property, if it has any leaks, we can get it, or problems, we can get to it ahead of time before it gets expensive.
Yeah, so exactly what you just summarized is basically what's gone over at lease signing. And then after that, it's just a quarterly inspection, and nobody really asks any questions.
Because what I think happens is tenants get conditioned to these words being at the front of the lease and never being followed up on.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep. And literally that quarterly inspection, like, I mean, sometimes I'm in there more than, just doing like Frank knows with central ACs, I got a couple properties with central ACs, and, you want to replace that filter like monthly. At least I sure as hell try to. So sometimes it's hard, I want to get on a schedule with all the properties, but I got different move-in dates. Sometimes we went in one to do a furnace filter when it has central AC versus another one that doesn't. We haven't been there in 2 months, going on 3, ready for a quarterly inspection. So sometimes we're like, hey, while we're coming in tomorrow to do the furnace filter, we're just going to check everything out as well. And again, like having those 3 friends I say a minimum of three best friends. Like, I probably wouldn't say minimum. I would say three best friends is really what you're looking for. And I know everything that's going on with every single property almost daily. They can't cut their freaking lawn. None of them can cut their lawn. Every single one of them pays late. But that is the territory
Can't
and
find
just the area.
the. Sorry, guys.
No, go ahead, Troy.
Oh, I was talking to my kids and I accidentally have my mic on.
Oh.
Anyways, I totally agree with Kyle though. Like, at the same time, like, I think if you can work with an agent, the biggest thing is, and it's no different with the contractor too, is you got to make sure that they understand what you need them to be looking for. Any agent that you're going to partner with to do something like this, you got to ask them, up front, like, are they an investor? Do they own properties? Do they have rental properties? If they don't have rental properties, they don't know what to look for. They're going to look at it from the aspect of as an agent does, and a lot of times agents are like, they just want to put a window shine on it, make it look nicer, sound nicer than it really is, because they want to sell it. However, if it's an agent that you're partnering with, someone who's got 5, 6, 12 properties, they're gonna know exactly what you want. No different than with a general contractor. I've had a general contractor go into my units and do an inspection on it and come back, and then I had a list of questions still afterwards to have things answered, and they didn't have those answers. So it's having that checklist of like, this is what I need you to be looking for, this is what I expect out of it. So it's like Kyle's saying, Kyle's got a great contractor that will do those services for you. Like, I would definitely say a handyman, in that degree, as long as you're being like open with them, saying, hey, this is what my expectation is of you going in and doing this inspection. That's having those conversations. No different with an agent. I mean, you can partner with people, but if you're not setting your expectations with them, they may not fulfill what you're wanting.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing, just to add on top of that as well, a lot of agents won't even they're going to try to protect themselves, and the first thing when they get backed in their corner doing an inspection is, well, I'm not a home inspector. Right?
Exactly.
Like, you're not going to hear that from the typical handyman, right? He's going to be like, yeah, I'll take a look at it. Like, he's looking to find work, right? That realtor benefits nothing by adding to their list or a list of repairs for you at all. But that handyman sure as hell does. So he's looking for money.
That and given a gauge of like the condition of your unit, like, one thing it's I guess I'll just say this: if you have an older property and you're having your contractor go out there and routinely work on it, the benefit of them continually going over there and routinely working on it is they can tell you, like, how does the place look? Is it a disaster?
Exactly.
Or are they trashing anything? Like, what do things look like? It's nice to have that constant, information on things to look for. Like, today was brought to my attention, the front door of the one unit, the door jamb was cracked. It looked like someone tried pushing it in. And this was a door jamb that got fixed just after my last turn because the tenant that was before had an anger management issue and tried kicking the door in. So it's, seeing those things, like bringing it to attention of your tenant, like, hey, can you explain what's going on here? This is what was brought to my attention. It doesn't mean that they're going to give you any real answer that's the truth, but at least you're having that conversation with them.
And these are the things that you want someone to look for in your property. They don't have to check everything, but there are things that you don't want to be in the property, like you mentioned, trash, like a cracked door, a hole in a wall, leaks from the ceiling, leaks in the bathroom. These are the major things. So, while I understand, you have your friend who knows everything and you go check on everything, it's not possible all the time. But it's possible that someone without experience to go check on the house, take some pictures, and mention mention the let's say the very obvious things, the things that you can tell them, okay, check for me these things, leaks, something like weird in the house, unusual, the major ones.
So let me add an extra little twist to this. As we inspect aircraft, oftentimes we see the same aircraft over and over and over and over. And the aircraft will eventually train us to overlook things. There is a system of having two eyes look at the aircraft, what you've done, what you haven't done, where you're at. Oftentimes, when somebody new cycles in, they will find stuff that you've gotten used to overlooking. So having a second unfamiliar set of eyes look at something occasionally not only builds relationships, but it might identify things that you've overlooked.
100%.
It's like hitting a new DOT scale.
I sometimes have cameras on my vacant properties just to make sure that the house is still there. So it's these are the main things that you want to make sure that you're aware of.
Got cameras on my property to figure out which kid has the BB gun. Mark, has Mark picked this spot where you're staying in Vegas this time?
Downtown Grand.
Okay.
Has Mark purchased his Vegas ticket yet? Let's put it that way.
Downtown Grand.
I think last year he bought it on the 10th, February 10th, that is.
Oh, yeah. I don't think you want to do that this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, Mark, you've asked people on your channel about what they think of the speaker lineup. Do you guys all know who's speaking, and do you have any thoughts on who's going to be there? Anybody you really want to see?
See you, Frank.
Besides Mark. Oh.
I don't even know who's speaking.
Yeah, so
Go ahead. Sorry, Frank.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say the headliners, Brett, are Pace Morby and is it John Hartman?
Yes.
Jason Hartman.
Jason, thank you. Yeah, I think he's got some good stuff. I want to listen to him for sure. I don't know, Mark, who are some of the other folks that are going to be chatting?
It's going to be Cody Davis. It's going to be Brandon Potts, REI Jared, Aaron Amin, Ryan and Lakeisha Ruff, the pastor guy, the health coach guy.
Jeff.
Yeah. He is trying to get Derek, the ADU guy, but Derek's trying to juggle his schedule. Leah, the trader, who is on X, but Zuber interviewed her before. She has like properties in Europe, I think, but she's more of a stock trader now. And that guy, Dylan something, he's been on the channel recently a few times.
Our
Kind of
Dylan?
younger. No, this other Dylan, another millennial, I think. So I think he's kicking it off with two millennials, both Saturday, Sunday.
Oh, okay.
How about Sharon and Sean? I don't recognize them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
2
them
years
two.
old.
They're the ones that went on that 2-3 year travel tour or whatever into Europe and Japan. They went to the Olympics and all that. But they have a huge following on Instagram. They have like, I don't know, man. They're a couple 100,000. They could be in the millions, their followers, but they they had a huge following before they took the kind of 2-3 year hiatus.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good information there. I forgot Jared was going to speak. That'll be cool.
Yeah, so Brandon's gonna talk about his infill. Jared's gonna do the rent by the room. Aaron is gonna do his residential assisted living. Yeah.
I think Flavio was wanting to bunk with you, is what it looks like here.
Hell no. But oh, is Ray here? Ray, you here? Or is he not listening? I was gonna tell Ray that
Yeah, I'm here.
hey, Pat officially retired.
Oh, let's go, dude. You gotta take me fishing then.
Yes, I told him. I said, "What, a Vegas celebration?" He said, "Yep."
He said he's going out traveling for a couple months, so I don't know when he's gonna be back.
I'm gonna hit up Washington, bro. He owes me a fishing trip.
Did he say if he's going to Vegas?
What was that?
Did Pat say if he was going to Vegas or not?
He just gave me a thumbs up when I told him, "Oh, we're gonna have a retirement party in Vegas," and he just gave me the thumbs up. So I'm assuming he's going.
Hopefully, it's a good time.
Oh yeah.
I don't think there's any good fishing in February. He'll probably come.
Yeah, if you want good fish, you gotta go to Australia.
Go to where? Australia?
Yeah, Lars has got an answer.
Yeah, I got that one down. I don't have the answers to anything else. I know where the seasons are in certain parts of the world.
You've got a lot of answers.
Dylan getting married?
Yeah, he's getting married, but boy, that would be a fun time. See if we can get him worked up.
This is the first time John's been with us, isn't it, John? Cashflow Ramirez.
Hey, yeah, this is the first time I've been able to catch you guys.
That's awesome to see you.
Yeah, I seen it. I pulled up the app and I seen a link and I was like, let me click it and see where it goes, and I found you guys.
Yeah, that's the party link.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for posting that. Whoever posted, I can't remember.
Yeah, so John, remind me where you're at and what you're buying.
I'm in Fort Worth, but I buy in Abilene, which is about 2.5 hours west of DFW.
Okay.
I've got 5 properties over there now that we have rentals. Currently under contract for one, off market. It's a shit box, right? But I mean, we're getting it for like $7,500. It will make a good rental if I decide to hold it, but I've got options with it, so I'm gonna kicking around some ideas and see what I do. For now, we're gonna do a lot of the heavy lifting stuff. We're gonna have to do, regardless. Foundation, replace windows, roof, probably doors, and then we may offer it up as a owner finance and hold the note as like a fixer upper owner finance.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how some of mine kind of work here too, Frank, is what I'm looking at. Well, only questions I got for you, John, are you oil field on or oil field off? I'm kind of guessing so I've been looking at Casper and things are getting better.
Is the oil field on or off? I have no clue, honestly.
Okay. I got a buddy out in Wink.
Yeah, I really don't know. Abilene's not really big of an oil town, so it doesn't play a big factor for the rentals there.
And are you a contractor, John? You do the work yourself?
No, because it's in Abilene. If I can, I will, but being that it's over there, I sub a lot of it out and just try to manage them from here.
Okay.
And then I'll go over there maybe once a week during the weekends and check in on progress, or pop up during the weekday. Sometimes I'll just pop up during the weekday. I still work a W-2 as well. I work for the school district doing maintenance here, so.
Okay, got it. Chester, are you there?
I am, yes.
Hi. Been wondering how you were faring with your property management issues.
So, interestingly enough, I believe is Kyle also on? I saw
Yeah, he was here.
I'm here, buddy.
So, so Kyle and I have had a quite a few chats over the past few weeks about figuring out how to for lack of a better phrase, dispense with the property management because uh in no uncertain terms, they suck. Just flat out. So getting sort of a baseline and understanding of, like, what types of things are necessary. Of course, establishing relationships with local contractors. Brian has been an absolute lifesaver. Kyle definitely has quote unquote struck gold with him. And the work that so to put in perspective, the work that uh following the routine inspection uh for the property, it was about 1,500, I believe. They had uh a quote from a local, I don't even know who it was, but they charged, it was like 14, or excuse, not charged, but the estimate was 1,460, so basically 1,500. And Brian did the work for about 40% of that price. Like, all in, everything was 600. So, and as a matter of fact, I think he also did the gutters as well. That was not originally on there. Is I think it was just like some stuff inside the house, and then one of the panels that was on the front facade of the house. Uh, yeah, all in, all of that was almost 1,500. And yeah, I mean, the aha moment, I think, was a lot of what I thought was mystery, if you want to call it that. Is not really, but like, there really isn't any mystery to it. It's really just more property managers kind of serve as a peace of mind, so to speak, for people who don't want to be bothered, for lack of a better phrase. There's really no quote unquote secret sauce to it. It's really very much like how, with Dion, especially when we hear about like the fire flutter blood, stuff like that, having those systems in place, uh, just being able to do that remotely or at a distance. So there really isn't any secret sauce to it. It really is just having a solid network of reliable people who, as Kyle says, don't try to screw you over on a day-to-day basis. Um, because the calls, they do come, but they will be less frequent if you're able to, have um a solid team in place as well as systems to be able to help the tenants when things arise. So
So did you fire your property manager?
so not yet. The
And are your tenants still in there? The same tenants?
They are, and so basically we're going to be taking things kind of one step at a time. Once I've fully built out the um network, let's call it, to have everything so that I'm not dealing with the any property managers like moving forward, where I can just handle everything on my own, then I'm going to see how the tenant does on their own. Um, and then one of the things that Kyle had actually reminded me is that, hey, don't be um, not hard, but like, it from an expectation standpoint, like every market is different. So, some markets, your tenants are, going to be on time or early. Sometimes they're going to be chronically late, but, they do pay, things like that. So, especially in the area that, we're investing in, it's like a, C minus area. And so an expectation, adjustment, for lack of a better phrase. So it's just having the systems, the network, just having everything available and ready so that if, worst really does come to worst, with me being in charge versus outsourcing, so to speak, to somebody else, then I can be able to say, all right, cool. I've got um eviction attorneys, I've got um all of the things that are necessary to be able to serve notice, like notice of default, things like that. So be able to do all of those things on my own, vice, saying, okay, well, let's go ahead and get rid of the tenant, pay like, 400 or 500 to have the property manager initiate it, and then still have to pay the retainer for the eviction attorney. So, just not having to deal with that type of a headache. So, yeah, all in all, I personally think that I don't want to say overblown, but like I will say definitely did feel a little bit frustrated because I was overwhelmed at first without really having this same level of knowledge. Yeah, I guess really just knowledge and like um confidence, I guess. Of course, Dion talks about it all the time. Confidence comes from competence. So, um, that's like another huge thing is that, you've got to be able to, um, trust in yourself. 'Cause I know, like, I know not everybody's in the WhatsApp group, but, um, the couple of videos that I put in there about, how, uh, the responsibility, regardless of whether it's a problem that we create or not, it's still our responsibility to fix things. We're uh ultimately on the hook. So what was the phrase? It may not be our fault, but it's our problem, so we've got to deal with it accordingly.
Yeah.
So
Extreme ownership.
Yeah, extreme ownership. Yes, definitely the oh gosh, Jocko Willink and can't remember who the other guy was with him. Um and then he and the other why am I drawing a blank on his name? Um the other Navy SEAL. Um
Well, the other thing
gosh.
too is though,
Yeah. Mhm.
how long have you owned the property? You haven't owned it very long, and
Mm-mm.
we're all learning stuff even after being in it for years. Um, thanks, Kevin.
I got a
Yeah.
question for Kyle. Your three best friends, do they remind you of each other?
Yeah, they do.
You guys hear that? Once you pick a personality that you get along with, that's competent, you can tell what they're going to do through each stage as they're doing well and as they start to fail. You get the same feelings.
That's interesting because I never thought about that. I've never thought about that. Nobody's ever asked me that, but wow, I think that just came to a full circle moment there. But yeah, I mean, it's literally like put it this way, if I lived back there, like we'd be hanging out, working on stuff all day, every day with each other.
Chester, you're Brian guy. When you meet other people that remind you of him, that there's tendencies there. You don't go looking for them, but if there's tendencies there, you kind of know what's there in a person.
Okay.
It's a gut feeling, but also you'll just so the same thing applies on the negative side. Can't really explain it. You know that's not how this is supposed to happen. It just seems to happen.
Yeah. Hmm.
Be aware. You don't have to make any decisions of it. Just be aware.
Sometimes you just
Okay.
know, with the people you click with, you just click with them right away, and then just keep running with it.
You've had
Uh,
drivers that do well, that are the same cloth, cut from the same cloth. And you've had drivers that don't do well, regardless of what they say.
Sure.
The same thing goes. You can almost read them.
Oh,
You got
no
to give
doubt.
the chance them. Yep.
Yep. And I do think, Mikey, is he still here? I know
Yeah.
Mikey's planning on going back to Pittsburgh here soon, and he was saying he's going to be back there for a week. I'm like, it's not long enough. You got to stay longer, because when you go back there, I'm like, man, you're going to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Your voice is going to be shot by 2 o'clock. You're going to be going to bed at noon, or I'm sorry, midnight. And you're going to want to sleep in until noon, but it's not going to happen. So I think I'm very excited for Mikey to go back there and really hear his experience. And I think he's just going to be super thrilled.
Yeah, he might be still at work. What is that like a so from East Coast is like a little after 10:30. What is that, like 6 hours to
Yeah,
Hawaii?
Hawaii 6 hours behind the East Coast, 3 hours here on the West Coast.
Okay, so it's still 4:30. Hawaii. Wait, daylight?
In Hawaii
No.
right now, on the beach.
Does Hawaii have only standard time? Or do
Like
they
no
switch to
daylight
daylight?
savings.
Yeah, I don't think they have daylight savings. I know it's like Arizona, Hawaii, and like one or two other states that don't honor daylight savings.
Parts of Indianapolis.
Oh, interesting. So okay. I didn't know it was part of Indiana. Okay. That's interesting.
We actually voted in Washington to not change, but the elected legislature doesn't want to change.
Interesting. Hmm. Now, just randomly off topic, not trying to like derail anything. Like I do remember hearing a while back, there was like a national initiative of some sort to um try to
Yeah, but those were never going to be. Because the
yeah,
moment you bring up the argument that you want to standardize something, somebody's going to come out and say that their industry is going to be hurt. Blah blah blah. They'll pay off some senator.
but that would benefit so many people because there's like really like I mean like daylight savings time benefited us all like like 150 years ago when we were like a largely agrarian society, but not now, you know?
Yeah, sir. You think you're going to get a bunch of senators who can barely who barely remember what their name is at this point? They change their ways.
Well,
Come on,
that's
man.
true.
You know better than that.
That's true.
Until all the Feinsteins and Schumers and all them are out, none of those people. The Orrin Hatches, the Feinsteins. I'll throw shade at both parties. I'm just simply saying, all the old senators.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So basically, the Washington State Legislature are claiming that the fact that when the law was written to be elected upon was that we were to stay abiding by the current daylight standard changes, meaning that we would flip to daylight change versus the way that the elected body understood the change in the law is that we were to not change by the daylight savings time and that we were to stay on one time alone. So it's been brought to bear multiple times during the last couple of elections that, are they going to correct the the misunderstanding, or the argument is like, no, well, it was elected, it was voted on by the people, and they voted to stay on the daylight savings time. So meanwhile, the rest of us are like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Go figure. Right? They lawyerese it to where even in the actual like voters pamphlet, it stated that the law was we were going to stay on a standardized time. And it was brought to bear even in arguments on the floor of the Senate in the Washington State Capitol building, and they were just like, nope, we're not changing.
That's crazy.
You guys, any last thoughts? It's almost my bedtime.
I got a question.
Okay.
So, as I shared many months ago, we got a Section 8 in a single family home at a really great premium. Super excited about it. But one of the things that I think I shared at the time was that we, in order to get the rent to where we wanted it, we also offered to cover utilities. And they are just super way over, like easily like 50 to 100% higher than just anything that we're used to. We're hoping some of it's just the summer, like obviously using the AC a lot more can impact that quite a bit. But our electric's at like 400 and our water is like 150 to 180. And so, we got them on a lease. We did commit to paying the utility bills, but I'm just trying to figure out, is there anything that we could consider or should do to try to mitigate this while the lease continues. We figure at the end we're just going to say, hey, look, we don't cover utilities anymore, so there you go, or we just raise the rent, or both. But meanwhile, any ideas on mitigation strategies?
Where we have one Section 8 tenant in our duplex in Milwaukee, and on our regular tenant, we increased, or we added a water bill back of like $45, but we couldn't do that with the Section 8. So we're just raising the rent for the Section 8 tenant by the same amount that we added water for the other tenant.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know that you have any, if there's anything you can do mid lease.
Yeah.
Hey, Frank.
All we're doing so far is we're just going to inspect the AC to see if they're misusing the AC, because if they're misusing it, we can cite them for that, and that would be they would be in violation of our policies then. But
How
other
would
than
you know if they're
that,
misusing it though? How would you be able to find that and improve it?
professional contractor, they take a look at it. They say it's been misused. They see where the AC is set, because more than 15 degrees below the ambient outside temperature is against our policy, and is considered misuse. So basically, we just send somebody to do an AC inspection, an AC, upkeep, just take care of like an annual, an annual checkup and annual maintenance on the AC. They give us a report, and then we use that report as our evidence of whatever misuse there might be.
Who sets that 15 degrees temperature? Because if it's 95 degrees in Florida, then that means their AC is gonna be at 80.
Yeah, that's actually right. Yeah.
I mean that's a bit. So who sets the 15 degrees? Because that's a bit hot, right? A little bit warm, I guess, to us.
Yeah. After doing a reasonable amount of research, we found that 15 degrees is a recommended scope for really, really hot days and AC in some of these hotter climates. If you have a really high performing AC, you can extend that to like 20 degrees or so. But that is and again, I'm a layman, I'm not a HVAC guy, but I did enough research to have a reasonable amount of confidence that that is reasonable standards to set for the tenants as to reasonable use of an AC, basically.
And Jeffrey, you're very thorough, and I remember. So I think you probably have that in your lease as well, right?
No, but we do have things in the lease that are like, you gotta, you can't break things, you can't misuse things, you're responsible to maintain things in a reasonable condition. And so, assuming that proper standards and practices are 15 degrees or so, and that's not beyond the pale, then we enforce the policy by way of enforcing the basic language of the lease. So in other words, I don't necessarily think that I have to put, hey, it's got to be 15 degrees and no more in the lease for me to set a policy if the policy is proven as reasonable. Obviously, you can take that to court and everybody could argue, but within the bounds of psychological warfare, I feel okay.
Yeah,
Jeffrey, I think the problem you're gonna have is no judge is gonna actually rule on that.
I don't care about. That's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not interested in going to court about it.
Yeah.
But when dealing with a tenant, I don't have to go to court. I just have to send them communications that cause them to change their behavior. That's all.
Can I ask you a question? Did you already like approach them and just let them know that, hey, this is kind of like beyond the scope what I'm usually used to, and if we keep going like this, I don't think we could renew with this same type of policy. Have you tried that more of a just asking if they can calm it down?
Yeah, I have not done that yet. My sense of this tenant is that they are a little sensitive. I wouldn't say a lot sensitive, but they are a little sensitive about how they want the place and how they're approaching their lifestyle there and whatnot. I could have that conversation. I think it's a reasonable approach. I'll tell you, my only real fear about doing that is just basically tipping our hand and showing them how much the frickin' the utilities are costing us. Because if we want them to take it over at the end of this lease, it's like I'd rather not tip my hand any more than I absolutely have to.
So what you do, Jeffrey, is you actually don't have that conversation based off of emotion or feel likes. Get a 12-month average from the utility company, whether
That's
it's
where I'm at.
gas or oil or electric or whatever the service is. They'll be able to give you a 12-month average, and you can give them a 12-month average. Hopefully the utility company can backdate it before they moved in, and then they can give you a 12-month average that you can print out and have that conversation with them and just say, hey, just wanted to show you something. Here was 12-month average utility bills before you moved in. Since you moved in, we're at here. Is there something going on? Is there a window that's not being able to be shut? Most likely, I guess I'll give it to you straight. You're going to be left holding the bag. They're not going to change their behavior. I have 3 Section 8 tenants. They will literally set that heater, that furnace at 90 degrees with the windows wide open and negative 20 in the winter. They don't care. Nope. Yeah. They don't give a rat's ass.
And that's why I figure, like, well, if I'm really not going to give much, or if I'm not going to get much from that conversation, all I'm doing is losing by showing them how much the utilities cost, so that they're going to want to refuse taking them on at the end of the first 12 months. Basically, I'd rather them just go in blind, and then let them figure out how much they're spending, and then they can adjust their behavior because it's then their problem.
I wouldn't. I would be very open. I would, because at the end of the day, if they can't afford to pay their bills, including your utility bill, I think it's time for them to move on. That's just going to be a bad situation for everybody involved to be in all honesty.
Yes, I can agree, because
well, they're not. They don't have to pay their bills. I don't care if they pay their bills or not. That's not my problem.
See if you can find a range restricted thermostat.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I didn't even think about that. You put them on a thermostat, right?
Yeah, there's thermostats out there that have that, and that can only go certain ranges for actually tenants like this situation.
Geez, that's a great idea. Okay.
But I mean, they might pull it and put a new one in, or they might screw something up trying to mess with it.
Wait a second. Document the installation, document the change. Now you've got grounds.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they can't touch it. It's our stuff. So once we make the change, then if they mess with it, they're damaging it. We can cite them for that, and we have that is a violation. Yeah, good point. Damn, that's a great idea.
You can also write an addendum to your lease agreement that is dated from the point of installation, that it has, a subsection in your lease that states that if your thermostat is tampered with, or is being removed from the property, that they're in violation of the lease agreement.
Yeah.
And they will be subject to eviction.
Yeah, totally. I think they would anyway, regardless, just because of some of the already existing language in there. But yeah, that's a very good point. I love it.
Are your tenants paying anything? Or are you getting 100%?
They're paying like $150 a month. I mean, it's not.
What's the rent?
The rent's like $3,100.
$3,100, and they're only paying $100.
Yeah, 150.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's obscene. It's insane.
Gotcha. Yeah, right. So to me,
Yeah,
I'm
see,
like,
with-
that's why
Yeah,
they,
with that
to me,
information, Jeff, I mean, I kind of like your strategy of don't show your cards, right? I mean,
Right.
They can pay.
They can
I
afford
don't know, like
they can afford it. The lady's got a job. I actually think we have a reasonably good Section 8 tenant, but there's still a Section 8 tenant, and I want to deal with the animal I've got, not the animal I want.
right.
The other thing here is, to Kyle's point, is if you can pull a history, now you might be able to do some fault finding, like equipment wise, and trying to replace faulty equipment and document it.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, wait a second. Are you saying that if we pull the AC or the electric info, that then we have cause for changing the thermostat because we're seeing something might be wrong with it?
Rate of change, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So you're not calling
We're not being
behavior
bad landlords.
behavior as it.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out, well, traditionally it's been this.
Right.
We've got to look for things, and furnace filters and some of the other stuff would be a good way to do that. But the other part of that, and then read what the HUD requirements are for your thermostat. See what the just do your best to do the background.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I
there
don't
might be
know,
like
Jeff.
part specific to the thermostat that I need to look into.
You've got to be able to document the reason for changes.
Yeah. Okay.
And as you walk forward on this path, you don't want to seem like you're just jumping to conclusions, blaming your tenant.
Right.
You want to make sure that you are taking care of them. And because if something is wrong with the equipment that is causing the extra usage, you want to be able to find that too. That's the major reason you're looking to find this, is something wrong.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then as you go through a troubleshooting tree, then you're coming back to a range restricted thermostat as a new thermostat installation.
How old is your unit?
Finally, Jim, good morning.
I don't even know. I don't know how old the AC is. That's a good question.
Because if it's older, it's the efficiency is horrible. My electric bill last month was $650, and we didn't have any over 100 degrees, and we keep it around 78.
Yeah.
I do have a pool too. If there's another $50 or $75 on that.
You know what I should also do is ask the old tenant and see what theirs was, but I should just go also to the utility and see if they can give me some stats.
Has it been an unusually hot year this year?
Oh yeah, definitely that. And again, it's like it's possible that when it starts cooling off, that the electric gets cut in half then as a result of that. But there are a lot of people in there. I mean, I think she's got like 5 kids, so devices and TVs and video games and all that stuff. I mean, that can suck electricity too, I would think.
Well, not only that, that's also just heating up the unit.
Oh, so even more AC needed then.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, okay.
And Jeff, the final thought is that if you talk to them about the that use, and that you're like feeling that they're using a lot of AC, and their bill is very high, and because they're paying only $150 and they're getting all this benefit from Section 8, I would think that if you talk to them, and you tell them that this is a little bit over what I think it should be, and
right.
At this rate, at this condition, your lease may not be continued next year. So they may feel from that point, they may feel like, oh, you know what, we're having fun now, but this may not continue after this 12 months ends. So we may want to push
I
a
don't
break on what
know
we're spending.
exactly how much we're spending either. We could just say, hey, it's more than normal. So maybe
Yeah.
we find out what might be at the source of that.
Out of curiosity, what are you looking at in terms of cost?
Cost, you're talking about the utility costs that I'm bringing up?
Yep.
So last month, the electric alone was 400. And I think the water was around 150 to 180, which is, I don't know, maybe about 50 to 75% higher than we would expect.
Were you paying the water or any of the utilities before?
Yeah, we put it in our name, so we know what's typical, at least from that. Now, again, when we had it in our name, nobody was there, so it wasn't going to be anywhere near the heavier use when somebody's actually occupying the property. And we also have other properties in the area for some more vague comparisons, but no, we don't have like exact apples to apples, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd definitely get in contact with the utility company and look at the average, because I mean, that power wise, that does seem pretty excessive, but it may not be. I mean, that many people occupying that space. You got to remember, 5 kids, they don't turn off lights.
Right.
They leave them on. They're constantly on. And like you said, when you have that many devices and that much stuff going on, and they're actually probably running the AC full bore, it's probably, you're definitely getting a lot.
Yep, I believe it.
I have a question. Did they buy another freezer or refrigerator? Because honestly, like lights don't usually count for too much of your electric bill, but another appliance will, right? Like especially refrigerators, freezers, even small ones can make a noticeable difference.
That's a good question. They actually weren't super jazzed about the refrigerator when they first got there. We even sent appliance people there to like fix it up for them, and she bitched about it a lot. So it makes me wonder if they might have done something like that, and then that's sucking even more power.
Because if they let's say they went and got a second freezer. I noticed this because I noticed this from when we first bought a second freezer, when my brother-in-law moved in with his freezer. I mean, the bill went up immediately, and then the moment my brother-in-law moved out and that freezer went with them, I mean, the electric bill went down I think it was $70 a month. That was the major difference, right?
Okay.
I mean, that was from a deep refrigerator. The other thing you can do is when you're pulling the stuff to the utilities and then you put in a new thermostat. I don't know if this works down there in Florida, but I know in Oregon, most governments won't fight if you throw in something about want to save the environment or something. Just FYI, I don't know if that works in Florida as well as it does in Oregon. But yeah, if you were to put, I can imagine in Oregon, if you're put in there, this is higher than normal, so we're gonna put this thermostat and really try to get down. And really, we just want to make sure the environment's taken care of, right? Regardless if if you do it because you're trying to save money, some Section 8 people might fight you in Oregon, but if you do it because you're trying to save the environment, well, hey, we have to save the environment. People change.
Yeah, good point.
I don't know if that's the same in Florida, but I just noticed in Oregon, so I just want to kind of bring it up down there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll check though. These are great places to start some research for all of these things. But I didn't even think about the possibility that they might have brought in another freezer or fridge. And again, they're like a brood of human beings in there. We're talking about like 6 people. So in that household, you got to imagine that they would have the demand for having another freezer or fridge just because everybody's food and stuff as well.
Yeah. So just do an inspection, right? A weld and safety inspection or whatever. And just make sure that when you do it or you have somebody else do it, they count the number of washers, dryers, freezers, refrigerators, microwaves, etc. And does it all make sense?
Yep.
Or it's,
when does school start back?
It should start in like a few weeks, no later than September. I'm pretty sure everything in Florida starts in the month of August nowadays.
You should see a difference there once kids, because if you say they got 5 kids, if she's not paying for summer camps or anything like that, then they're there,
They're all there.
24 hours a day. Yeah, exactly. So
So school, all of a sudden they're back to school, and now they're not using the electric. Even beyond AC use, there's all of that then.
Right. So that's something to account as well too. But,
yeah, they probably all got PS5s or computers or something. They're all plugged in their rooms,
Yep, exactly. Yep.
If I was your tenant, I'd be putting in a blow up hot tub.
A blow up hot tub. Yeah, because I mean, we pay for everything. I mean, they could do whatever they want, really.
So do you have to do all utilities included? Is that just the way it works in that area, or can you opt out of that?
No, we could do whatever. We're in the free state of Florida, so we could do anything. But we made it was basically a gambit to get the rent up, because what we did was we listed it for $2,500, and then we realized what the rules were, and we said we have to jack this rent up. So we had already given the tenant, hey, it's going to be $2,500, and so I was like, how can I get her to agree to $3,100 instead? And I was like, utilities, lawn care, give her that, let her know that that's going to save her a bunch of money, which it is, obviously, and then get her to be comfortable with the new rent amount that we're going to submit to the agency. And I got her to agree. I got her to say yes to it, but now we're paying the price for that gambit as well.
Yeah, it's only a couple months, so it could just be June, July, August, and then the rest of the months might even out. So you won't really know until the full year goes through whether that played out or not.
Yeah, we really don't. We, it's the owner is just in reaction. They're looking at the bill and they're like, "Holy fuck! That we gotta kill this tenant," And it's all, I just want to do the best I can for them and make sure that we can maximize our ROI. We're already getting a premium over what we would have gotten in from market anyway, which I'm jazzed about. But there's just so much money tied up in these utilities and whatnot that I want to get it to a reasonable rate so that we have even more gravy. That's all.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of not knowing, because the utilities are such a wild card.
Yep.
I'm not going to try that.
Yeah, very good point. The other concern is that we have is that, like, the utility use is indicative of use of the systems in the house as well, electric, water, etc. It's like, what are they doing in there that's taking all that energy, all that water? And so we want to make sure as well that they're not like overusing things to the point of damaging it, because, replacing an AC, paying for the electric is one thing, but then replacing an entire unit, now we're talking $6,000 to $10,000, and that's something also we want to avoid.
Yeah, I would definitely check the age of that, because I know mine's old. I've had a new unit for 2 years and just wanted to limp this one along. So it's because your efficiency is going to go up extremely with a new unit.
Okay, I'm going to do that too.
When is your inspection? I'm sorry. When is your inspection?
I think I don't think we've scheduled it yet. I have it over to my assistant, so I think she'll probably try to get it done in the next couple weeks.
Well, I would say, I'm sorry, I meant your inspection from Section 8. When do they come back in and inspect? Do they do it yearly?
Yeah, it's annual, so they're probably not going to do it until, like, I don't know. I know, because this is the first. I mean, they just moved in like 3 or 4 months ago, so
okay, gotcha.
They inspected it like literally before they moved in, so it was a pretty recent inspection.
Right. Well, like I said, I just know, like, every year you can actually bump it if you needed to, So that's one of the perks about Section 8 if you ain't reached the max yet,
Yeah, well, that we want to just do both. We want to increase the rent and get ourselves out from under the utilities, because that, I mean, if we were able to do both of those things, then I mean, we're talking about another probably almost 10 grand. That we're gonna make, well, maybe five to 10, somewhere in that ballpark that we could glean from this tenant.
Not understood. Yeah, understood. All right. Well, hey, you got some work to do now, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, thanks, guys. I mean, I've got like 9 action items here and a bunch of stuff I didn't think of. So you guys are gold.
What was I gonna say? I know, Frank, I was gonna say my rentals in Milwaukee that I have Section 8, they're single family, so a little bit different, but I have the tenants pay the water. I keep it in my name because if they don't pay it, it goes on taxes. But I think I found out that Section 8 will pay a little bit more if it's done that way. So it kind of works out for a benefit, but that's single families. I haven't done that with a duplex yet.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a single family home, so yeah, we're matching in the form.
Yeah, for us, he was talking about our duplex in Milwaukee. I think I'll have to check into that because they pay the water bill quarterly, and they just paid it. It was $463 for the quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And we hadn't the last time I asked them to get a reimbursement for the water, the property manager dropped the ball, so we had to go another year without. But I'll check with them and see if that's something we could do. The other thing they mentioned was comparing our place to other duplexes in the area, right? If the others, like ours is up for $13.50 a month, including water. So if you advertise for $13.50 plus water, they thought there might be, that people might not go for that right off the bat if there was other places that were including the water.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to do comparables or whatever else. I tell them like, hey, I just show them the comparables. But the other thing about you guys laughing about hot tubs in rentals or something like that, I think my lease has it in there, but I've seen live births in pools and houses and stuff like that. So it's not a bad idea to put some of that stuff in there.
Yeah, sometimes you miss it the first time around, right? I mean, you don't know until you actually walk in and they're swimming in the living room.
I walked in, there was this chick with like a doula or whatever you want to call it, like some girl in there. There were 2 girls in the pool and she was like giving birth or whatever. I'm just like, what the crap is this? Yeah.
Hey, how many people actually charge a pet rent?
I do.
We do.
Okay.
Yep, you too.
I do.
Well, it's a pet fee, not a pet rent.
We charge both a fee and
potato.
Frank, do you do that in Milwaukee?
They don't have pets.
So I've been really steered away from trying to do anything like that, a pet deposit, a pet anything. My buddy that's got like he quit the fire department. He's got over, I don't know, 100 rentals now or whatever, and he's like, dude, don't even go that route. He goes, either don't pick them or eat it. He's like, it's not worth it. They'll get you somehow, some way. So
it's just, I mean, the way I see it is it's just extra money. So it's like, great. And when you advertise the rent at X, like $1,000, and then they bring in a pet, and then you add that on, oh, it's a $350 per pet, or it's $25 a month per pet, or both. Well, now I'm getting more rent than I advertised. And the only way you get more rent than you advertise is by adding fees. Because if you say, I mean, here's the argument that people I've heard, well, just set the rent higher. Well, then I have to advertise it higher, and then I don't get as many good prospects. That's bad marketing. Unless you're looking just for premium people and the snob factor with that, lower the better generally, right? So I want to be able to advertise the lowest rent possible without being ridiculous, while also maximizing my income simultaneously. I don't know how else to do that other than nickeling and diming people on the back end.
Well, I don't. The money's not coming back, or you're not going to keep that money for a pet. The pet's going to do some kind of damage that's going to end up costing that amount of money for
Well,
sure.
but that's what I'm saying. It's like if you're going to let the pet.
I don't agree with that, Jim.
I do. I've done too many repairs for them.
I think what I'm saying is like if you're going to allow pets, at least charge for them. You don't have to allow them.
Yeah.
I think I'd give a discount without pet.
There you go.
I'm getting an extra $600 a year for
Yeah.
a pet for
Yeah,
one of my tenants. So I'm feeling like,
$50 a
hey,
month.
if you okay with paying $600 a year for your dog, then I'm okay with it. You know, because then to me, I'm like, hey, she's gonna take care of the animal, and obviously the animal is gonna be pretty much, you know, obedient. But
How much do you pay? How much do you charge per month?
I think it was like 50. It was like either 50 or $40 extra. So
Right.
I had rents at 1,300. Like this gentleman was just saying, I had rents at 1,300. Then she's like, hey, I got a dog. I said, okay, it's gonna be, $200 deposit, $150 deposit, or just pet fee, and then an extra $40-$50 a month. And she was like, okay, that's cool. So
Yeah, not
like,
to mention that when people when the pet damages something, if you've done a good job in getting a reasonable security deposit, your tenant has to pay for that damage, and you take it out of their deposit. Or if they're going to stay there, you just assess a charge that is above and beyond pet rent, pet fees, and all that other stuff.
I'm curious. Do you restrict any like breeds of dogs or breeds of pets? So like I know my personal homeowner's insurance policy,
Definitely.
they German Shepherds, Pit Bulls, all that have special riders.
There's a fairly good list of dogs. You can look it up on ChatGPT real quickly. I generally don't even allow any animals over 25 pounds because they do excessive amount of damage, not only inside, but outside. Your turf, your flooring, your trim, all kinds of stuff like that when you get in those bigger dogs, and I generally, my policy is $300 per pet. Doesn't matter how many pets, only a maximum. I have it a maximum too, but and then it's $50 per month per pet, actually. So you'd be surprised. A lot of people have pets, especially small ones, cats, small dogs. A lot of people, the hardest thing with a lot of renters is they want animals. It's their companions, especially if they're single or whatever, or if they have kids and stuff like that. It's just another member of the family. I mean, we all have had pets, I understand how it is. But at the same time, there's so many places that don't allow pets as well. But, my feeling is, hey, if you want to have a pet, you're going to have to pay for it.
And you don't want them showing up with a emotional support animal. And then there's nothing that you can do about it. Now you done missed out on that money.
Yeah, you can't do anything about that.
Now you done missed out on that money. So it's just like,
Right.
hey, but like I said, to each his own. I know that one guy said his buddy had 100 and he don't mess with animals, but it's like everybody now has animals.
And
My daughter's in college, and I think one girl was in college. She had lizards and
Yep.
mice in college. So I'm just like, geez, Louise, so
Actually pretty impressed about how few of we got a lot of tenants with a lot of pets. How few of them have played that emotional support animal card with us. We got one that did, and none of the other ones have. They all just pay the fees and abide.
Have you gotten certificates that prove that it's a emotional support animal?
Yeah. I haven't. Well, actually, I think the one tenant that did that with us, she did provide the paperwork. But I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even think we would, like, if somebody said that, I don't even know that we would ask. We'd just be like, okay, you know how to play the game. Just whatever. and just
Yeah, it's an online application. It's so easy to get it. It's
right.
ridiculous.
Yep.
So my attorney advises me to absolutely not accept any ESA letters unless it's from a local doctor's office. So if it's not local, it's going to be denied.
I had
Yeah,
one
same here.
tenant tried to do that too, and I was like, shoot, okay, I guess we're gonna have to place her. And I had in there that it was a $50 application fee, and normally I don't put that in there. And so I said, hey, I just need your $50 application fee, and we'll move along with everything. And she's like, I'm not paying it. And I was like, well, then you're not gonna live here. So that's how I got out of that one.
There.
So do you
$50
guys?
application fee.
So do you guys mean that if they have a certificate emotional support that you don't charge a pet fee?
You're not allowed to legally.
Right.
So
That's against the law.
It's not the emotional support, but there's another one called the
Service
that one.
service animal.
Yeah.
Service animal. Well, service animal is different than emotional support, right?
It
Well,
depends on
service
the
provides a-
also. I think different states have different rules.
My understanding is a service dog provides actually a service emotional support animal is there for you to be emotionally sound, like to help you with your anxiety and stuff like that. Was that correct? What you guys would say?
It's people with have like PTSD, have traumatic episodes, a lot of that stuff similar to that. No different than service animals are animals that actually help with disabled people.
But in all the other states, it seems like you cannot charge for either service or emotional support. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have to check. I have to check here.
I was talking to my dad today. He's a veteran. He's a Vietnam veteran. He told me today that the VA now is providing animals now for veterans. So, which I probably already knew that, but I'm just saying since we're on the subject of these animals. So
My daughter took the horse through McDonald's drive-through.
Question is, what did she order?
I'm looking for the picture. Yeah, no. Because we just got a picture of a horse, a woman, and a baby corralling a calf at McDonald's with the shopping carts. So y'all got different challenges than we do.
That's the normal backup drive-through in Montana.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. I can't find it.
I was going to say to Paul's question about the pets. At one time, Mikey had checked in with his insurance provider and they sent him a list of dogs they didn't cover. But when I just had this a couple of weeks ago with a tenant in Missouri, and when I checked with our insurance provider, they said they didn't have a list of dogs that they didn't allow. And the property manager, I don't know how they do it, but they put the pets through some kind of pet screening service just to make sure that there's not a record of them ever being aggressive or biting or anything like that. And that the tenant should have their renter's insurance with the dog on it and then add us as an additional insured to their policy.
Yep, you nailed that, Frank.
Oh, I did. Thanks.
I agree. If that's worth anything to anybody.
It is.
Don't take my advice. I don't know what I'm doing.
That's it. I guess they call that a mic drop, right?
But yeah, no. As far as the pet screening, I know nothing about that. I think I've heard of it, but it's been a while. But no, absolutely, they are to be listed on the renter's insurance policy as well as me listed as additional insured, no doubt. And also $500,000 liability coverage as well for them.
Yeah, in effect before you move in with Mike with a copy.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
In other words, if you get somebody that's really needing it, they're going to take care of their animals and step through the hoops. If it's just a bunch of words and they're trying to play the game, oftentimes they'll look for an easier victim.
Yep. Charles, you said you're in Princeton, Illinois?
I'm south of it, yeah.
So okay, gotcha. All right. So you're a little bit of ways out from Davenport. Does Davenport interest you at all?
Oh, sure. Yeah. You seen Illinois taxes?
Yeah, and everything else. Yep.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
For instance,
Gotcha.
mile marker 56, 61 is 180 coming south. So I'm 20 miles south of that at this house.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
So drive time to Davenport's about 85 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Gotcha. Well, if you start looking over there, you know, we'll
I'll
have
be
to
over I'll be over there
chit-chat more.
and take a look at what Hunter threw out there. So
Take a look at what?
what Hunter's got. He's got a problem with that quad.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
Hey Frank, did you watch Mark's channel this morning?
I was there for part of it. The one with Justin.
Yeah. You got lots of people that want you to work down there. You need to move sooner.
Yeah, now I'm scared. I'll be too busy. That'll be nice.
Rented mule.
You'll get in trouble if you're home too much.
Yeah,
Why
that's
was- Go ahead, Frank. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was just going to say you were warning us of that last time. If we're home too much, we might get in trouble.
I got a lot of connections for you here, Frank.
Oh, hey, there you are. Yeah, I got to get up there while I can still do stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asking a bunch of questions. I hope to have one of these properties live September 1st. So
That'd be nice.
If the building department, PG&E, all these stupid delivery companies and everything else actually do what they say they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. So are you closing up? Are you closing it all up, getting it all done? And
Well,
just waiting on PG&E?
one of them is fully in process. The other two, I've got another 2-week delay from the building department.
Oh.
And then PG&E, I've got a month delay on one of them. But this one, we have a bunch of tractor work coming in 2 weeks, and that'll get the first one pretty close to live by the 1st.
Whole new set of problems.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. And new things to learn.
Yeah, it'll be good getting them wrapped up.
Yeah. I won't be able to get refinanced until October though, because there's 2 houses on one property. So I have to have them both done to be able to get it refinanced.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
How much does the second one need?
Oh, well, it'll go way quicker once the first one's done. Because that one's a 2-bed, 1-bath, so it'll go a lot faster. It should be done by middle of October, because I'm gone for 15 days in September. And then the other one, once we get to it, it'll only be a month. But then I'm in winter, and hopefully Dion's theory works.
I think that depends on where you're at.
Yeah, it's not bad up here. I mean, we do get rain. This will get a tiny bit of snow up here. It won't be bad though. So hopefully I can get it rented. And it'll be nice if it does get rented at a different time. So I'll get this one rented in like September, and then the other one's rented in November-ish. Then they're not right next to each other.
I think I'm going to try to have one available, counter-cyclical as well, middle of the winter. But that's got different pressures on it. So who's on tomorrow, Mark?
I'm moving my fractional Friday to tomorrow because
Does Mark even know what
Zuber
day it is?
yeah, I know. I said the wrong day, I think, today. I realized it after. Because Zuber wants to record on Friday instead of tomorrow, so I'm switching the and then Ray's gonna be on Friday though with John Litz. John's gonna talk about his Airbnb struggles a little bit right now, sounds like.
It was mostly tenant issues. Was
Yeah,
it the
yeah. Just
hot tub full of leaves or something?
yeah, got bad review, something about the parking, right? I guess or they're doing construction across the street too, and so yeah.
How much is
Somebody's.
that? Go ahead. Sorry, Ray.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we just had a guest. They were a $2,500 booking, but then they stole $50 worth of pillows. Fucking assholes. So we said, you know what? We'll just chop that as a loss. This is not a big deal. It's not worth like giving them a bad review and us getting a bad review in return. You know what I'm saying? We just said, you know what? We'll just eat the $50.
Man, I'd have trackers in them things.
Shit, look, what kind of pillows were those? Good gracious, I might need some of them.
I got them at home, dude. Nothing special.
Wait, so I also saw Ray. I saw you post something of your third Airbnb. What are you working on?
Yeah, my one of my tenants is moving out of my long-term rental, and that was the one I bought back in 2010. And we're gonna go ahead and convert that into an Airbnb. And we're gonna do a slow roll on furnishing it. So I'm gonna try to do it for a lot cheaper than what I did in Michigan because I can take my time with this one. Yeah, so that's gonna be our third one.
Nice.
So are you going to go all into the short-term rental, or are you just going to still keep some long-term?
Bro, short term's too good for me, man. I don't know. I haven't gotten punished yet. So until I get punished, we're gonna keep pulling that trigger.
Yeah. 24.50 out of 25 ain't bad, huh?
Yeah.
Well, this week it was pillows.
Uh-huh.
Next week you never know.
Yeah.
I'll have his TV chained down.
Hey, it's coming, Frank. I'm gonna learn my lesson. Watch. Something big is gonna happen. I'm gonna share it with you guys, I promise.
Well,
Something big's gonna be happening. You're gonna be quiet.
We're sending all the positive vibes.
I'm just gonna make sure I grab some lube. We're good.
I'm gonna go down and crash in Val's backyard in the winter.
I tell Chester all the time, every day in real estate, it's like sitting on a traffic cone and never finding the base.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
If you guys haven't heard, looks like Dylan's gonna be on Bigger Pockets Rookie.
Oh,
Sounds
really?
like. Yeah.
Get out of here. Really?
Yeah,
looks
real
like,
estate
yeah.
rookie
Yeah.
Yeah,
with Ashley Kerr and Tony Washington.
Wow. Hey, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to tune into that one.
And now let's hear the mouse story. I've been waiting.
Yeah, what is this mouse story? What's going on with this?
I don't know. That's why I want to hear about it.
We don't have time to tell that story again. You guys were supposed to watch the recording from last
Oh,
week.
this was your house, the mouse story. Okay.
No,
I've heard that one.
this is where a mouse about got him arrested.
See, yeah.
What? Oh man, intrigue. The intrigue.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording now. If I can find the record button.
This should be late hours, like BET Uncut.
Should we grab our beers now?
I want to say it is down near the
I see the more,
bottom. If
yeah, the more button, it says pause or stop recording. Oh, here we go.